To start off the brand new season of anime, we have Fist of the Blue Sky Regenisis. Now, this was something I was looking forward to quite a bit, actually. This was like, I haven't touched any of the Fist of the Blue Sky stuff, but however, I am actually a big fan of Fist of the North Star material, not to mention as well some of the spin-offs that we've had. I really like the Legend of Rao, kind of little anime spin-off that we've had, some of the movies, and like overall, like I've liked this series like a lot, and I will say that the original anime hasn't aged very well. I will say, like, still to this day, like, the overall, it's more like aged like cheese, but the content, though, that's aged like fine wine, and that's the thing what I really enjoy about the series, and it's like, we're now getting a brand new series, something that takes place with another member that isn't like Kenshiro, like Kazumi Kenshiro, and immediately coming from this episode, I was like, everything I've seen about Kazumi, he looks badass, he looks cool, he's a badass in this nice pimp like clothes like that, it's like heavily detailed, smoking, he's got his girl, he's got mafia, all this stuff around him that was like, it was interesting. However, there is a huge thing to talk about in this episode, which really dampens the experience. But also as well, there's a lot of things if you are not familiar with Fist of the Blue Sky, and I had to read up on a couple of things as well to kind of like know what's going on with Regenisis, so let's kind of jump into this. So if people don't know, with Regenisis, this is happening middle away in the Fist of the Blue Sky manga. Like from what I've heard from like a couple of friends as well, is that like they have majority skipped around some of this material because A, it isn't good. Like some of the stuff that they wasn't going through, like the first bit especially was with the gangs, like the two gangs going at, like the green gang and the red gang, like when those two were clashing in Shanghai and like Kazumi just finishes them off like it's nothing. Apparently that arc was very slow and it wasn't like exactly what kind of people wanted in like, you know, new Fist of the North Star material, so they kind of want to like off them. There was some problems of trying to introduce characters then at this point, and with Regenisis, from what I know, is that like they are kind of following the manga, but they are changing a bunch of things with like a bunch of characters and how they're going to be acting, and like also as well with the general that died in this episode. Apparently he died in a completely different way, like someone else offed him off, but it was it made more sense like this. Like then again, like all this stuff that I'm talking about, it is just not. So as a brand new watcher, it is very hard when he's like, okay, here's all these characters, and all of these characters have history already, but you wouldn't know that unless you've actually seen the original series. And I feel like the first introduction of this episode, which beautiful fucking calligraphy, like I actually, the way how they were using it with the overlays and everything, I thought was really nice. I liked that. I thought that was really good. I love that. Now, obviously the big thing to address, and it's what it's been on everyone's like lips, and it is the CGI. Now, I want to point this out. CGI can be done very well. We've seen this with shows like Land of the Lustrous, where it is one of the most standout gorgeous things. And I will say this, the CGI is not ugly. In screenshot-wise, it is not ugly. And you can see the amount of, like, heavily detailed on the characters, like, when you see on, like, Geese, or when you see on, like, especially Kasumi, or any of the Mafia members. When you look at these people, and it's like, there's so much detail on their robes. It is ridiculous. Even when like, you're looking at some of the other Mafia members with their suits. However, though, it runs like fucking shit. It is, I legit thought my computer was playing up when I was watching this. It is, the frame rate is horrific. And this is a thing, this is someone that's coming who watched the Berserk anime, and yes, like, Berserk is more uglier than this, and I don't know which one I'd rather have. Would I rather just have an ugly show that kind of ran okay from time to time, which Berserk did do, or would I have this where it looks actually pretty? I love, like, they managed to catch the details of these characters, but it runs around about 9 frames a second. There's multiple, and I like to say this is, I don't know whether or not this is the fault on the actual animators themselves, because there are two things I can think of, like, mainly thought, like, what happened with this. A, they just didn't have time. Regardless of what people think and all that, time is so important. If they, like, it generally felt like they ran out of time and was like, okay, let's just, like, we're making the models, but fuck it, we're doing the story, we've got all this stuff down, just make sure that you can convey movement, but don't try and add so much to it, especially, even if it's, like, a first episode or something, where it's like, we're not pulling out all the stops just yet. Or it might be something with how the characters are so heavily detailed, they're spending so much time with that they like, it's generally, this is their main focus, to making these characters look highly detailed, and the movement is the last thing really on their fucking mind. Like, even the jobbers I was seeing was like, they've got these highly detailed suits and shit, and I'm like, yeah, I can see that, but the entire show to run like shit, even with, like, I would be fine if this was just, like, no-name fucking characters, because at the end of the day, like, they cut, regardless of what anime studio or whatever you like and all that, they always do find ways to try and cut some shit and try and fix it later. Whether or not this will be heavily addressed in, like, the Blu-ray version, like, when they actually have time to clean this up, I don't know, but it is heavily distracting, and it did take me away from the experience, especially when I was trying my damnedest to get into this. Like, this is new Fist of North Star material. Like, I want to see this because A, I'm excited for the PS4 game, like Hokuto Gokuto. Like, that is going to be amazing, and I cannot wait for that. And it's like, I want to know more about Kazumi and this world. It's just the way how they've portrayed it, with it, like, being midway through the story, adding, like all these changes into that. I feel like it could have done a little bit better with an introduction for new-time fans, and not to mention as well. So I probably am going to have to read Fist of the Blue Sky at some point. I'm probably going to have to check this out, and I did want to, I don't know where I'm going to keep up with this, because there were so much things where, like, Kazumi, like, caught, like, one of his friends, like, he's getting murdered, like, this, you see this cowboy-looking guy that kind of, like, offed him off, like, and clearly there's a whole thing going, like, after, like, all Fist of North Star users. I forget what the guy that is clearly, like, this version of Ray, where he's looking after this little girl, Erika, and he is just, like, he is, like, coughing up his blood and everything, and there's a whole altercation between him and Kazumi where it's like, did you murder that man? And it's like, no, that wasn't the case. So it leaves on a cliffhanger with those two now about to fight each other, which we've seen from, like, a couple of videos and all that. It's like, regardless, I'm looking forward to it, and it's like, we'll finally get to see how they handle action in this series. I feel bad because I feel like every Fist of the North Star, like, production, and I'm talking about the original, like, on there, like, it's like, it feels like it's always destined to have some issue in the kind where it's just like, you can't just be like, yeah, this fucking Fist of the North Star, like, everything about it was fucking awesome, and that's such a shame. I know, like, Ozzy with the new PS4 game, Ozzy from the Yakuza team, that's a little different on there, because that, in the end, again, that's a video game made by a really good studio, and it's, well, from everything that we've already been hearing from the reviews and everything, it's fucking great, so I cannot wait. Like, hopefully they do translate it over here. I'd be so down to actually get my hands to play this. But yeah, as being honest with the reviewer, this episode was a mess, but it was a mess because of production issues, and also as well a little bit about how the story was handled, and it's like, they could have maybe handled it in, like, a better way for new time. But if you're already a fan that read Blue Sky, then it shouldn't bother you that much. But even still, like, the production-wise, it was bad. Story-wise, I'm fine with. Like, apart from I wanted a little bit more clarification in the intro, that's all and all that. It, honestly, like, midway through the episode, I was like, okay, yeah, I know who this guy is, I know who this person is. Like, it's overall, yeah. I can't say I cannot recommend this show, but I will say, like, with the multiple issues that it has off the gate, I really hope this is just first episode, like, problems. I hope this isn't something that persists in the entire show. We're just going to have to find out, because I really want to like this show, and I really want to get into more North Star material, and I want to see it, and I want to love it. It's just, the problems just cannot be ignored on there. Like, it generally looks unfinished in, like, areas. It, like, they are moving, so like you see characters moving like this, or if not, they're fucking stiff as anything. Like it looks like at some points that we're playing with fucking Action Man figures at points. So overall, I want to know what you guys think about Fist of the Blue Sky Regenesis. And honestly, to cut it off, my favorite part of the entire episode was the opening. I absolutely adore the opening. I think it's great, and the ending, it's fine, but I need to know what you guys think in the comment section down below, what you think about this, and hopefully and all that. This won't be my last talking of Fist of the North Star. I definitely want to talk about more of this series and all that if I get the chance to, so let me know. That's all me, and I'll see you guys, though, next time.